Chair thanks the gentleman. Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for questions, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to come and address this. You know, it's interesting on my friends on the other side of the aisle, and I'm talking about cultural wars being fought. I want to commend you for cutting things that should have been cut out of this time of day, out of your budget. And I guess it's cultural wars for the little 12-year-old girl that got murdered under a bridge yesterday. I guess it's cultural wars to be against what happened to Lakeland Riley by illegals. I guess it's cultural wars to object to the invasion at our border for the killings that are taking place every day. The 12-year-old girl happened, I think it was yesterday, by two Venezuelans that were in this country. One, I think, was in May, and one was in March. It's an atrocity what this administration is doing to this country. And so I appreciate, Mr. Amadei, the $600 million for the wall, building, resuming the wall, which is the only way to really to handle this. The 200 agents that you're hiring. Can you go into how you're going to, what the thought process is on putting some things in place for the Biden administration to make them follow? And I realize, yeah, he's going, if it sees the light of day, he's going to be against it. He's against everything that's pro-American. So would you go over that, Mr. Amadei?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, through you to the gentleman from South Carolina. I think we're all up here a product of our experiences, and our experiences in terms of border issues over the last 3 years should have instructed people on both sides. And so when we had ICE, when we had the Border Patrol, when we had those agencies, CISA, all those folks in front of us, and people on both sides got to question them, we were looking for stuff that wasn't working, and looking for stuff that there was some history that said did work. And so from that testimony, you can attribute it to whatever you want, but I'll just tell you that testimony informed the committee's work product on what we're doing now is not working. And that's as nice as I can say it. And that was the opinion of the obviously the majority of the committee, and so we tried to put the funding in those areas that we believed were proven, time-proven methods of controlling flow in some sort of a manner that complied with regulations and rules for entering the country. And so that's where you see we put our money where our mouth was in terms of solutions for the border that are different than what's going on right now.
How about address HB2Bs, increasing that? I'm from South Carolina. We're a manufacturing, textile manufacturing state. We're heavy in the hospitality industry. Do you realize this number of the HB2Bs hadn't been increased for 34 years? And we've got empty tables that are not being used. Taxes aren't being collected on food sold because they can't get waiters. They can't get the processing there. Give me a flavor of what went into that, increasing that.
Well, it wasn't the first time that it's been in front of the committee. As you probably know, Dr. Harris from Maryland, who has a bit of an industry floating around there associated with the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic coast and that sort of thing with the seafood industry, offered it. Pedigree from Maine, strong voice for the hospitality industry and in what's going on up in the northeast corner of the country. You've got Mr. Westerman, forest workers. I mean, there's a cross-section that is, God forbid, bipartisan that supports this. The biggest challenge that it has is when you talk about immigration is, well, is that really in Homeland's jurisdiction? And so the judiciary members have a concern about that. There's an outfit out there, Numbers USA, that has a concern about it. They didn't make any effort to contact me, not that that's magic, but it's like, well, these are jobs that other people could have, and it's like, listen, if I've missed some data on that, I'd be happy to look at it and acknowledge that. I can just tell you that It went before the committee. The committee was fine in their markup. It went before the full committee, and the full committee supported it. And, you know, I would be scared because I would venture to say that there's a fair element of bipartisan support for that. So we'll see what this committee does. But if it gets to the floor, unless there's somebody who's got some impassioned, factual basis for saying this is why this is bad policy, I think people that need temporary workers in accordance with the rule setup deserve a shot. And so all it really does is say, this is the number, and it makes you do that number, whatever the existing number is. So it's not discretionary, you know that for sure. So it's not like, hey, we're gonna double the number of visas or anything else like that, but it is gonna say, and by the way, the last few years, that number has been issued. And so it just says you will instead of you may, is the general effect for the number of visas, but.
And I've heard from the numbers group, and they can't back up anything that, any objection to it. This isn't, what Biden is doing is illegally letting anyone and everybody with a criminal record in this country. What the HB2B visas do is they have strict guidelines. These people are coming to work. For that peach farmer who's got to get the peaches out of his field, for that, for farmers at every process need workers. So, and again, it hadn't been increased since 1990. Anyway, thank y'all for your work, and Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Gentleman yields back. Chair thanks the gentleman. Gentlelady from Indiana is recognized for questions.
Thank you, Mr.